In France right now, there is a very large protest movement going on called the Yellow Vest Movement. Essentially, it is the people of France very angry with the Macron government over the decision to raise the price, the taxes on fuel, diesel, and gasoline. Now, doing such a thing has a tremendous impact on the economy, and regular everyday working people will be affected by this more than anyone else. This has led to riots in the street, which have injured police officers. Over 260 people thus far have been arrested in these incidents, and it is even being reported by the union representing the police that the majority of them support the people who are protesting, because this is not just a protest over fuel prices. This is how it began. This is the straw that broke the camel's back. This is about the larger reforms that are being put through by the alleged centrists who had been elected not too long ago. Many of the people are angry, demanding the return of pensions that a lot of people, worked their whole lives to earn, and they're being taken away. In other words, the neoliberal reforms that capitalism has to put through. My problem, however, is with the people who are running around on social media claiming that this is another Paris Commune. This is turning into another Paris Commune. This is the spirit of '68 all over again. It's a revolutionary situation. The French masses are rising up. Well, no. I mean, it really should be obvious that that's not what's happening at all. The people of France, the people who are protesting right now, are not making such demands of having a whole new system. They are not demanding a Paris Commune, nor are they arguing for an end to capitalism. They are very specifically protesting in favor of social democratic reforms. Now, I know in the protests there are a few red flags in there supporting communist-oriented flags, but the vast majority are French nationalist flags and EU flags. So this idea that somehow this is a revolutionary uprising, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I mean, you keep being wrong about these things, that you keep claiming every time there's a protest that it's a revolutionary uprising when it's not there. These people are not making such demands. They're arguing for social democratic reforms. If so, there's something very interesting we would need to ask. Let's say we increase the amount of social democratic benefits to the French people. Now, exactly how is this going to be paid for? As it stands right now, France is a tremendous exploiter of the Third World, and many of the former French colonies pay a tax to France for the benefit of used to being colonized by France, and many of these are in Africa. This is something that many Pan-Africanists rightly criticize, that despite the fact that many of the old colonial powers have left the continent, much of their influence still remains. For example, France is highly dependent on royalty payments from African countries. I mean, we're not talking a little bit, we're talking billions. And some estimates upwards of tens of billions of dollars that France lives off of that are extracted by law from many of the former French colonies. For example, Togo pays 40% of its GDP to French taxes for having formerly been a colony of France. So I think we really do need to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on and not mindlessly cheerlead anything. Many of the demands of the French people are rightful. If they did pay into their pensions, they do deserve to have them. The raising fuel prices are, according to many economists, unnecessary, but is largely a cash grab by the government to deal with previous failed policies, many of that being the massive reduction in the global economy as a result of the crisis in 2008. They no longer have the money necessary to do the social democratic reforms. In other words, capitalism is failing, and we do need a whole new system to replace it if we are to continue to have human lives sustainable on the planet. But we have to keep in mind here that not every time people protest, it's some kind of great revolutionary uprising. Very far from that fact. Usually when people protest, they're demanding social democratic reforms. And this is exactly what we saw with exactly what we're seeing with France. If this were true, why would they be waving, the French nationalist flag or even the EU flag in this matter? Those few communists who are out there protesting, and to a large degree, rightfully doing so, they don't represent the majority. They represent, a very small minority of the French public, many of whom hold very reactionary stances. But they continue to protest so heavily for their social democratic benefits. But you never see them protest this hard to end the colonial influence that France has in Africa, because that's their priorities. Getting their benefits, but not ending the system that causes such global exploitation. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.